I thought I was smart enough to have a secret side piece. Now my boyfriend is gone and I think I've actually broken my own brain. Okay, look. I know I sound like a complete and utter asshole. Hell, I probably am one, so go ahead and get it out of your system in the comments. I honestly don't even care at this point. I'm posting this because my brain is just broken, seriously. It feels like a scrambled TV channel, all static and noise. I keep replaying everything, but the scenes are out of order and I can't connect the dots anymore. I need you guys to just yell at me, I guess, or explain it to me like I'm 5. Tell me the exact moment I became this person, because how did I get from this is just a bit of harmless fun, you know? A little secret thrill, to sitting in a dead silent apartment that still smells a little like him, staring at the empty space on the bookshelf where his stupid nerdy collectibles used to be. My own personal ghost town. I can't even breathe right. It's like my lungs forgot how to work without him in the room. I need someone to just lay it out for me because I know I'm the villain here. I know it, but my brain won't let me see why. You get it right? God, please tell me someone gets it. So my boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, God, that word feels like swallowing glass, is Cillian. Or was, for 3 years he was my rock. He's a data analyst, which is honestly the most Cillian job in the world. He thrives on order, on spreadsheets, on predictable outcomes. Our life was predictable. Tuesday was takeout night, always from the same Thai place. Friday was for whatever new series we were binging, with him meticulously tracking our progress on an app. The third weekend of the month, we'd visit his parents, and he'd have the driving route planned to avoid peak traffic. It was a comfortable, steady rhythm. He was the kind of guy who remembered the name of my childhood dog, who always made sure my car had gas before a long drive, and who'd listen to me rant about my stupid job for hours without ever looking at his phone. He was good, a genuinely, fundamentally good man, and that was the problem, right? At least that's what I told myself. It was too good, too steady. After a while, I started to feel less like a girlfriend and more like a well-managed data point in his life's master spreadsheet. The love was there, I knew it was, but the spark, the thrill. It felt like it had been optimized out of existence. I craved a little chaos, you know, a little unpredictability, a story I didn't already know the ending to. I was bored. I hate saying it, it makes me sound so shallow, but it's the truth. I remember this one night, maybe a year ago, we were curled up on the sofa and talking about our families. He told me in this really quiet, serious voice I'd never heard before about how his parents' marriage ended. His dad had an affair. Cillian was a teenager and he said it didn't just break up his family. It felt like it broke reality itself. He trusted his dad, idolized him, and then suddenly this person was a stranger. He looked at me, his eyes so damn earnest, and said, I could never ever forgive that. Cheating, it's not just a mistake, Saffron. It's a choice to completely invalidate everything you've built with someone. It's like setting fire to a house just to feel warm for a minute. I remember nodding and squeezing his hand, saying all the right things. But in my head, a tiny, arrogant part of me was thinking, God, that's a bit dramatic, isn't it? I saw his pain, but I processed it as a character trait, not a warning. I heard the words, but I didn't listen. I filed it away as Cillian being a bit rigid, not as the one single, unbreakable rule of our relationship. It was his core trauma, his big red line painted in neon, and I saw it as a footnote. God, I'm such an idiot. It was the most important thing he ever told me, and I treated it like trivia. Then Vaughn happened. Was Cillian's best friend since college, and he is the polar opposite of Cillian in every conceivable way. Where Cillian plans, Vaughn improvises. Cillian is a data analyst who finds beauty in a perfectly balanced spreadsheet. Vaughn is a freelance photographer who tells stories about getting lost in the back alleys of Marrakesh and sleeping in a van on the coast of New Zealand. He's all chaotic energy, witty one-liners, and that kind of effortless cool that makes you feel a little more interesting just by being near him. He was the chaos I'd been craving, gift-wrapped and delivered right to our doorstep. The first time I really felt it, the three of us were out for dinner at some quiet, respectable place Cillian had picked. Cillian was passionately explaining a new data visualization model he was building for work. He was genuinely excited, but to me, it was just a drone of corporate buzzwords. My eyes were glazing over. Vaughn, sitting across from me, caught my gaze. He didn't say a word. He just widened his eyes slightly, puffed out his cheeks in an expression of soul-crushing boredom, and then gave a tiny, almost imperceptible shake of his head. It was a stupid little gesture, but it felt like a jolt of electricity. It was our secret. A silent, hilarious conspiracy in the middle of a beige conversation. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I had a partner in crime. After that, the floodgates opened, digitally at least. It started with him replying to my Instagram stories. I'd post a picture of our Tuesday night Thai food, and he'd reply, "Let me guess, Pad, see you in episode 4. We gotta break you out of jail sometime." It was a joke, but it was also a validation of my secret boredom. He saw it, he got it. Soon we were texting daily. It was a constant stream of inside jokes, links to weird articles, photos of his travels. It was everything my life with Cillian wasn't: spontaneous, exciting, and just for me. I became an expert at self-deception. "He's Cillian's friend, for God's sake," I'd repeat to myself like a mantra. It's not like anything is going to happen. But my heart hammered in my chest every time my phone buzzed with his name. My brain went into overdrive justifying it. "This is just flirting," I'd think. "It's what adults do, it's harmless." Or my personal favorite, my masterpiece of delusion: "This is actually good for my relationship with Cillian. It gives me the excitement I'm missing so I can be a better, more present girlfriend for him when he gets home." I know, the mental gymnastics are Olympic level. I genuinely believed I was smart enough to compartmentalize, to keep these two parts of my life completely separate. I saw myself as this sophisticated woman, capable of managing a complex emotional landscape. In reality, I was just a kid playing with matches in a fireworks factory, telling myself I could control the explosion. I felt powerful. I felt desired. And I was so high on that feeling, I didn't realize I was building the bomb that would blow up my entire life. The digital flirting bled into the real world, just like I swore to myself it wouldn't. It started with a coffee. Vaughn texted me one afternoon, "Stuck editing in a cafe near your office. Save me from this hell." It felt so casual, so harmless. I told Cillian I was working late on a project. The lie slid out of my mouth so easily it scared me. But the thrill of it, the secretiveness, quickly overshadowed the guilt. That coffee was electric. We talked for 2 hours and it felt like 20 minutes. He was funny, he was engaged, he asked me questions about me that Cillian hadn't asked in years. Then it was a "let's check out this new gallery" or "help me pick out a birthday gift for my sister." Each lie to Cillian was easier than the last. I was building a second life, brick by brick, and the adrenaline of it was intoxicating. I felt like the main character in a movie, skillfully navigating a web of secrets. I thought I was so damn smart. The final, fatal mistake happened last Thursday. It was the biggest night of Cillian's professional life. He had a final presentation for a massive project, the one that was pretty much a guaranteed shoo-in for a huge promotion he'd been working towards for months. He was a wreck. For weeks, the apartment had been filled with his nervous energy, the floor littered with note cards and empty coffee cups. The night before, he could barely sleep. He asked me, begged me really, to just be home that night. "I don't care if we even talk," he said, his voice tight with anxiety. "I just need to know you're there when I get back, win or lose. You're my anchor, Saf, please." I looked him right in his tired, hopeful eyes and promised him I would be. I even made a joke about having his favorite beer on ice for him. Then at 3 p.m. that day, my phone buzzed. It was Vaughn, a screenshot of 2 tickets to see the Lumineers, the band I was obsessed with, the one whose tickets had sold out in minutes. "Found a guy selling these last minute, they're for tonight, you in?" My brain short-circuited. The Lumineers, tonight, my promise to Cillian felt like a distant, muffled echo. The arrogant, selfish part of me took the wheel and the rationalizations came fast and furious. "Cillian will be fine," I told myself. "He's a grown man. He'll probably be so wrapped up in his own head he won't even notice what time I get home. It'll be a quick concert, I can be back before midnight." I convinced myself I could do both. I could go to the concert, have my thrill, and still be home in time to play the supportive girlfriend. I was so sure of my own cleverness. I texted Cillian some elaborate bullshit story about my boss calling an emergency late-night meeting that I absolutely couldn't get out of. I even added a bunch of sad emojis and a "suo bummed I'll miss you" to sell it. He just replied, "Okay, that sucks, just be safe." Reading that now makes me physically ill. He was worried about me. I chose a concert over him. On the one night he explicitly told me he needed me, I chose a fleeting high with his best friend. I didn't just cross his red line. I took a can of spray paint and danced all over it like a complete, selfish moron. The concert was a blur of loud music and cheap beer. I felt giddy, reckless. Vaughn and I were laughing, singing along at the top of our lungs. He put his arm around me during my favorite song and I didn't pull away. For a couple of hours, I completely forgot about Cillian and his presentation. I was in my own little bubble of excitement. I got home around 1 a.m., buzzed and exhausted. The apartment was dark except for a single lamp in the living room, and Cillian was sitting in his armchair, perfectly still. My heart dropped into my stomach. He wasn't angry. He wasn't yelling, he was just quiet. The silence was 1,000 times worse than shouting would have been. Hey, I said, my voice sounding fake and chirpy. How'd it go? Sorry I'm so late. Sandra is a slave driver. He didn't answer right away. He just looked at me. Then he said, in a voice completely devoid of any emotion, I called your office at 7 to see if you wanted me to order you food. Your receptionist, Carol, said you left at 6. Ice flooded my veins. We went to a different location. The lie died in my throat. It was pathetic. He didn't even acknowledge it. He just picked up his phone from the table beside him and turned the screen towards me. It was a screenshot. A picture from Vaughn's private Instagram story posted 2 hours earlier. It was a selfie of the two of us at the concert, my head thrown back in laughter, Vaughn grinning at the camera. The caption was simple, best company. Someone we both knew, one of our mutual friends, had seen it and sent it to him. There was nothing to say. I just stood there, my stupid concert t-shirt suddenly feeling like a clown costume. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't call me names. He just looked at me with this expression of profound, bottomless disappointment. It was like he was looking at a stranger. I'm going to stay at my brother's tonight, he said, standing up. And that was it. He walked past me, went into the bedroom, packed a small bag, and left. No slamming doors, no final words, just the quiet click of the lock behind him. The next morning, I woke up with a hangover and a sliver of hope that it was all a nightmare. Then I saw it. I walked into our bedroom and the closet was half empty. His suits, his shirts, his running shoes, all gone. I ran to the bathroom. His toothbrush, his razor, his side of the medicine cabinet empty. The bookshelf in the living room had a huge gap where his collection of history books used to be. He had come back while I was asleep. He had packed up 3 years of his life and vanished without a sound. Panic, pure undiluted panic set in. This wasn't part of the plan. My stupid, arrogant brain had convinced me that even if I got caught, we'd have a huge fight. We'd scream, we'd cry, and then I'd apologize and we'd work through it. I never, not for a single second, considered that he would just leave. That he would execute the end of our relationship with the clean, quiet efficiency of a database purge. My first move was to call him, straight to voicemail. I called again, voicemail. After the fifth try, the message changed. The number you have dialed is no longer in service. He'd blocked me. I sent him a barrage of texts. Cillian, please, we need to talk. I'm so sorry, it was a stupid mistake. Don't do this. Only to be met with the deafening silence of a non-delivered notification. He'd blocked me there too. My next desperate move was to call Vaughn. I needed an ally or at least some information. His phone rang once, then went to voicemail. I tried texting him. A few minutes later, I got a single, cold message back. Don't contact me again, Saffron. I'm trying to fix things with my best friend. You should probably leave him alone too. And then he blocked me. Just like that, I was an island. Crying and hyperventilating, I called Amy, our mutual friend, my last resort. I launched into a rambling, tear-soaked version of the story, framing it as a huge misunderstanding. I was hoping for tea and sympathy for her to say, oh, he's just overreacting, he'll come around. Instead, there was a long, cold silence on the other end of the line. Then Amy's voice came back, flat and sharp. Saffron, what exactly did you want me to say? Are you serious right now? You lied to him on the most important night of his career to go to a concert with his best friend. His best friend, after you, of all people, knew what his father did to his family, you didn't just make a mistake, you took his deepest trauma and used it as a weapon against him. Honestly. Leave him alone, he's a wreck, and frankly, you're the last person he needs to hear from. The line went dead. She'd hung up on me. That was the moment the floor fell out from under me. It wasn't just Cillian who was gone, it was everyone. In my selfish little game, I hadn't just lost a boyfriend, I had made myself a villain in everyone's story. The last few weeks have been a special kind of hell. The silence in the apartment is a physical thing. I keep expecting to hear his keys in the door. Every time my phone buzzes, my stomach leaps, thinking it's him, but it never is. I decided I had to do something, one grand gesture to prove I understood the magnitude of my fuck-up. I spent an entire weekend writing him a letter, not an email, a real, handwritten letter. It ended up being 10 pages long. I didn't make excuses. I just owned all of it, my boredom, my arrogance, my selfishness. I told him he was right to leave, that I had been a coward and a liar. I even included a printed receipt for my first appointment with a therapist, like some pathetic piece of evidence that I was working on myself. I drove to his brother's house, my hands shaking, and put it in the mailbox, feeling like I was posting the most important document of my life. For 5 days, I heard nothing. I checked my phone every 30 seconds. I barely slept. I was a mess. Then this morning, a small package arrived by courier. My name was on it, but the return address was just his brother's. My heart hammered against my ribs. This was it. A reply, I tore it open. There was no letter inside, no note. Just a single, cold object that fell into my palm, the spare key to our apartment that I had given him years ago. Taped around the head of the key was a small piece of a sticky note. On it, in Cillian's neat, familiar handwriting, were a few words. Not "I hate you," not "you ruined my life." It just said, "Please forward my mail to the new address." All the best. All the best. That's what broke me, the polite, impersonal finality of it. It was the kind of thing you say to a stranger, to a former colleague. It was colder than any angry tirade could ever be. He wasn't punishing me. He was just done. He had already moved on. Holding that key, I finally understood. There was nothing left to salvage. There was no grand fight to be had, no dramatic reconciliation. I hadn't just lost him, I had been erased.